Double Dragon. What's good, y'all? It's your boy AMENZ.
It's your boy Lycan.
We back with some new heat for y'all today. What we about to talk about, G?
Man, today we about to react to one of the people who provides a lot of content in the monster hunting community, AREX Gaming.
AREX?
He released a video called New Armor and Weapons Breakdown. And we just felt like, you know what I'm saying, pretty much react to it, getting our thoughts about it.
Yeah, the most important thing in Monster Hunter is the armor and the weapons, to me. You know what I'm saying? I need to look good, and I need to have some good stacks, and I need to have a crazy weapon.
Facts.
I want to see what new things they're bringing up to the table.
Yeah, so let's just get into it, man. Let's get right into the video.
Facts.
All right, let's get into it.
Weapons. In the most recent trailer, the Elder Dragons trailer that dropped, if you guys haven't seen that or seen my breakdown, I've linked them down below. However, in that trailer, we got to look at some more hunters going face to face with monsters, and a few of them were wearing some new sets of armor. They typically do this in the trailer. They have hunters equipped in, you know, these pre-made loadouts. A lot of the time in the most recent trailers, we've seen the same sets cropping up time and time again. But in the most recent one, as we get a little bit closer to launch, we have seen a few new additions to the roster. So I figured what I would do in this video is step through those segments and basically call out what the armor sets are, the monster they link to, and also the weapons they're using, at least for the most part. There are a few that we're gonna have to make some educated guesses for, but either way, I figured this will still be useful for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you do, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions. But first up, the first scene where we see a lot of hunters is, of course, in the online gathering hub. We see them gathered around this table. Most of these are sets that we've seen before, or at least from what we can see. Some of them are...
Remember, on the PS2 one, old days, how you was able to sit down and get drunk, and then when you get drunk, you get to walk around.
You can do that on the PSP version too.
Yeah, man.
You can do that on all of them.
What I'm saying.
Oh yeah, the old days.
I remember when I first was able to do it.
Okay, I see.
PS2 days. You know what I'm saying? You just
gotta get drunk.
Get tipsy. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit hard to distinguish from, you know, the distance and whatnot, but starting from the top left and working counterclockwise, you have the Legiana set, because the first one I can't see, it's behind like the ropes and whatnot. Probably Rathian set, but either way, Legiana set, followed by Rathalos, followed by Tobi Kadachi for the females, Kuluyaku, Ingot set, the Puke Puke armor set, then of course go over to the right side, we have the Angeleth set. The next one I'm not entirely too sure, it's a little bit bulky, so I can't quite make that one out. We then have...
You see that cat?
That cat look armored up, bro.
That looks like the best armor so far.
It's like a tank.
What monster do y'all think that cat's armor is? I don't know. It maybe
the green throwing me off. I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's some type of...
That cat ready, bro. That cat for the body of freaking Rathalos by itself.
I can't tell if that's a back piece or a hammer. Or...
That's crazy.
Looks crazy. But so far, I didn't know that they like specifically place armor sets in this show, like well in this trailer. It's pretty sneaky. Yeah.
Have the Tsitsi-Yaku armor set, Jagras, Bone, and also the Paolumu set. So that is our first look at a load of hunters decked out in some gear. Also, I just want to bounce back to this one here for a second. This is a rather interesting Palico armor set. Most of the Palico sets we've seen already, but this one, I can't even begin to make out what it is, but it looks almost like a kind of bone/wooden spacesuit. Honestly, don't know. Looks kind of cool. I want to see more of that. And we get a different view of that if we jump over to the next scene when they are at the arm wrestling barrel. You can see over to the right-hand side, we see that Palico again, this time from the front. Hence why I said it looks kind of like a spacesuit, because you've got this.
That might be an Elder.
Elder Dragon?
It might be an Elder. It had, like, number one, I know for a fact it has to be from a monster we have not seen yet. I can't think of what style that comes from.
Yeah, neither.
Maybe a crab. Look at the legs. Possible crab.
True.
Don't know.
It was
what y'all think?
Suited and booted.
Yeah, he's like, he lives in there.
This sort of glass bubble at the top. However, interestingly, I want to go and scan over to the left-hand side. You see this hunter standing here in this rather interesting set we haven't seen before. It's not too clear to make out, and at this stage, I think it's a little bit hard to work out exactly where it comes from. If I had to hazard a guess, I'd say potentially that new bone zombie looking wyvern we've seen, because it kind of looks sort of like a vampiric armor set. You got the black and red color scheme to it. Almost looks like something you might see in Bloodborne.
I don't know about that.
And to a
yeah,
I don't think that's it.
I don't either. It looks more like that little part right here by the glass like a beak.
Mm.
That doesn't look like that.
That looks more fierce.
Yeah.
Like this new dragon, like armor look like it'll be more fierce than that.
And I feel as if like the actual oranges, like you know what I'm saying, that little in between, I feel like that'll be presented in this. And yeah, it will look more shredded. That looks too put together.
Yeah.
That's a sloppy monster for that to be the armor set. Facts.
Good analogy skills.
Just saying, man. You know what I'm saying?
To an extent, kind of reminds me of the Astral set from Generations, but a little bit different again. So that is a new armor set. Haven't seen that one before. Not entirely sure where it comes from, but still something worth calling out. Then if we jump over to the next segments where they actually start doing some of the gameplay, we see the reveal of that dragon I just spoke about, the Wyvern, the zombie-looking one that we just saw. We have a hunter here wearing full Diablos gear, rocking the Diablos bow. And then
okay, in this sense, I can see it being the armor.
Yeah, that's true. It kind of look more like it now
because it's darker now.
When they showed the gameplay.
So could it be that the light has illuminated the actual little webbings between the wings? Okay. Oh, that wasn't my phone.
Possibly.
That was Menzies' phone.
After that, in the next scene, we have a female hunter wearing what I believe to be the Odogaron armor set. We get a better look at it a little bit later on the male, but the only reason I'm kind of thinking this is because the coloration of monsters.
She has some cheeks, though.
They found it.
Typically translates over to the armor set, and this one has these very distinct red parts to it. These sort of muscly looking red parts, and that sort of matches the way that Odogaron looks. Again, we'll kind of talk more about that in just a second. And as for the insect glaive, this is also a new one. It looks slightly different to the Anjanath one, so I feel like this is also probably an Odogaron insect glaive. A lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time in these trailers, they tend to match up, you know, the weapons that you're using with the armor sets and stuff. So there is that to consider. But either way, that is a new armor set and a new weapon that we haven't seen before. And in the next part, where there's a hunter going toe-to-toe with Teostra.
I'm telling you, man.
Teostra!
That level looks just beautiful.
Look at this graphic gameplay, bruh.
That level just looks beautiful.
Bruh. Oh my gosh.
It's beautiful. I'm gonna cry, man.
That looks good.
We have the Legiana set, this time on the male, and again, I'm going to assume it's a Legiana bowgun because the coloration sort of matches. It's kind of got those interesting wing-looking components to it, so that's also a possible match there. The next scene is a longsword user sliding down the slope wearing Rathian gear, but this time wielding a Duratados longsword. It deals water damage, as you can see there, but these ones are very identifiable. You can really see that in the armor sets, we'll see a little bit later as well. And I've made a couple of the Duratados weapons whilst I was playing in Japan, so yeah, those ones are very easy to notice. That comes from the bone longsword path, so of course it will change form as you progress, you know, as you kind of work your way up the tree, but either way, that is pretty sweet. Next up, we of course have your regular kind of iron hammer. Not entirely sure what this armor set is, in truth. It almost looks like the female version of that one I couldn't quite identify back in the online gathering hall. There are certain parts of it that just look kind of like your bog standard iron male, but then some of it looks a little bit different, so can't quite place this one. If any of you guys have any ideas, by all means shout down below. But then the next scene is, of course, a lance user going up against Baroth, wearing the Puke armor set, but wielding the Rathalos lance, also looking pretty sweet. Again, going from the iron path, but this is probably a little bit further down because it looks like it's slightly more Rathalos focused than before. Because when you look,
the elemental like visuals,
oh yeah,
I like them in the next gen. It looks more like it's more realistic, not like just some weird, weird texture just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the monster before, the oily one with the spikes, man, I want that armor. Oh, that monster look cool. You know what I'm saying?
Look at these weapons is that it seems from what we've seen up until now, you typically build the weapon off of like one of those base paths, either iron or bone, and as you upgrade it, it starts to lean more towards that monster's form. So early on, it might just look like a bone weapon with, say, some Rathalos scales on it, and then as you go further, it looks slightly more like a Rathalos weapon. So that's kind of cool. Next up, we have a bow user doing that pretty sweet move. I love this one. That's the one where you basically dash into like a mushroom wall or one of those walls that you can run up, and you essentially do this really flashy shot.
Like
the armor set being worn here appears to just be the...
What do you mean?
You know, like on the DS one, you can choose different special abilities that you can have. Like, is that like a...
I think it's...
Or that's something everybody
I think it's a move. It's certain. I think certain classes have this move because I've seen lance people, like lance users, do that.
For real?
Yeah, they would. It's weird. I'm like, how do you do that with a freaking lance? like I've seen a lance person actually do that while I was fighting with them. They run up the thing and they just, you know what I'm saying, come down and joust them. So I think that's just like a move set.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay. Depending on the class.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there's special things that, you know, sword users can do or other people versus the bow and stuff like that. But I've seen, like, only thing I've seen so far was the lance. I don't know what other people can do that.
Mm.
The bog standard kind of iron armor set, or the sort of alloy metal one, and the bow, not entirely sure. Part of it looks like the Anjanath bow because of course the, you know, coloration and whatnot, but then you've got these other spikes on top of it that could come from something else, so that one's a little bit harder to place at the moment. So if we then move on from there, we get a look at a hunter wearing Tsuchiyaku armor and wielding the Anjanath sword and shield, of course in the earlier form. The next one is a female hunter, Legiana gear with the bone dual blades. And then after that, this
Hold on, man, don't be smacking my wolf like that, son.
Hey, man, the wolf gotta die so you can get some armor and some weapons.
That's a fact. Sorry.
Interesting. That armor set we saw back in the Hunter's Hub when there was that guy standing over to the left of the arm wrestling barrel wearing that rather kind of vampiric armor set.
Yeah, because I was like,
this looks like it comes from Bloodborne. That is, or this appears to be the female version of that. This time with the hunter wielding a different insect glaive, which I believe to be the Tsuchiyaku insect glaive, because if you look at the part around the blade, that looks remarkably similar to the kind of head fans, or however you want to describe it, basically things that comes out of his head when it goes to do the flash attack. So I believe that is where this one comes from. But the actual armor set itself, again, looks really interesting, but they've been really clever in this trailer. They've only shown, like in this segment where you see the insect glaive user vaulting, so we can't really get a good, clear picture of this armor set in either instance. So this one is still a bit of a mystery, but still something worth calling out. After that, we have an armor set we've seen before, the Kuroyaku armor set, and the switch axe being wielded here, I believe, comes from Legiana and also appears to dish out ice damage. In the next segment, we have a hunter wearing the bone armor set with heavy bowgun. After that, you have a male Palumu gear with a Tobikadachi charge blade. I appreciate this one's come up a fair bit because in some of my gameplay that I recorded from Japan, I often wear this charge blade, or I have the earlier form of this charge blade on my back, and sometimes people have called it out and be like, is that Zenoga? Is that something else? But no, this is from Tobikadachi, so it dished out lightning damage, or thunder damage, should I say, and that is that's the charge blade, and that's where it belongs. Next scene is the Tobikadachi armor set, again for the females, but the hunting horn this time is the, or at least I think it's a Paolumu horn, again coming from the bone part, where you can clearly see that white fluffy coating to it.
Yeah.
All you hunting horn wielders out there, you know what I'm saying? We like to have a hunting horn person give us all the buffs.
You're not supposed to laugh at them.
No, but they do. It takes skill to use the hunting horn.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? They give us all the buffs. I think they are key.
A lot of pride too.
Right. I think they are key to rounding out like a Monster Hunter squad.
We ain't gonna tell y'all what we're gonna use just yet. We got a video coming soon. What weapons we using?
Main weapons.
So get ready for that.
With the slightly dense, scaly-looking part that clearly shows up on the Paolumu's tail. Next up, Hunter and Anjanath gear going to town on a Tsuchiyaku's head.
Like that?
A little bit brutal. We have a hunter here wearing full Jonatalos gear with the Rathi.
I can already say I don't want that monster's armor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even care. You better come at me. Y'all know the name. I don't care. Come at me if you want. You know what I'm saying? That looks like a Raytheon. Lance.
Land?
Yeah. Or is it something else? No, it's a Raytheon.
Gun lance. And then this segment here, this is the one that I want to call out that links back to the one I spoke about earlier on. This, I believe, to be the male Odogaron gear. Of course, this isn't confirmed at this stage because we haven't had a chance to actually see it in the smithy, but if you zoom in and take a look at the actual kind of components, you've got these weird sort of muscly looking segments to them that almost matches up the body type on Odogaron, and of course the red color scheme really carries through. It's also kind of got this Asian theme to it as well. You see the wraps around the legs that kind of match up with the Naga gear from before, and you've got this interesting mane hanging down the back of it as well. So really cool looking armor set from what I can see here. I want to see the front of it. That's something we haven't seen just yet, but either way, that is a possible link. Then, as we begin to draw closer to the end of the trailer, or the end of this segment, this is just more kind of group hunting here with hunters wearing, armor sets we've seen before, wielding weapons we've seen before. Again, here is a hunter wearing the Legiana gear, and this time...
The board that you're fighting them on is pretty epic. It looks pretty dope.
Bro, the environment, they doing really good on the
Look at its mouth.
environments, bro.
That's detail.
He
That's
look like he
artwork.
about to kill everybody in one
That's
swoop.
artwork. One thing, if you are an Ark player, the Ragnarok expansion, this looks like one of the areas where you can mine dragon eggs. That's just for all
you talking
Ragnarok
about
people.
the Ark survival game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Time, that's the Legiana longsword, and you can also see in the distance a hunter with the Diablos gear and the Diablos charge blade too. So that's pretty much it from the trailer. I do want to call out this segment here. This is not entirely sure what these are. I'm going to assume these are the Coral Highlands equivalent of the Grimmelkind or their kind of Grimmelkind clan, because we've seen before in different instances, like if you go around the Wildspire Waste and you mount the barrel near that central kind of ravine area, then if you're close enough to the wall, the Grimmelkind will jump down, throw a net on it, and they'll kind of hold it in place for a little bit. It could well be that if you, I don't know, mount a monster in this area, then maybe these guys jump out and start shooting. There's still so much we don't know just yet, but it is really cool to see them. They do look very different to your typical Grimmelkind, because normally you just see them as cats. These guys have like full-on armor sets, so
you see
not
it.
sure what they are, but that's poor Yaku is getting completely destroyed there. And also the last thing worth calling out as well actually comes from the key art, this one here. Again, most of the hunters we've seen with the armor sets before, but the insect glaive user, top right, is wielding a Yaku insect glaive, and bottom left, there's this interesting looking blue ice looking bow. Not entirely sure where it's from, but it could also be Legiana, because we know that has ice type weapons and it's kind of got those matching feathers. So for the time being, that's pretty much it. That is essentially just scanning through, going.
I just hope that it'd be cool if
What?
Could that armor set possibly been Nergigante's armor set?
Which one? Oh, you talking about the one he didn't know?
Possible. But I want his armor set to like be like a live armor set, like it changes.
Oh.
Like have the spikes coming out of it, like breathing.
Got some eyes on it that blink
breathing
from time
or
to
something like
time.
that. Something breathing, like have his like some breathing armor. That'd be dope. I mean, like we next gen, you know what I'm saying? We need some dope stuff.
Make it happen.
Dope stuff.
Going over all the armor sets that we've seen in the most recent trailer, all the weapons, trying to identify them wherever possible. There are a couple of speculations there, but most of those ones are confirmed. So if you guys have any questions, hopefully that answered them. If you have any more questions, drop them down below.
So what you think?
Very interesting. Seeing some new armor, new weapon set. Seeing some new stuff for the Palico. Them must look like some baby tanks now.
That armor, that was like low key my most favorite armor.
Yeah, that was my favorite armor. Just because the cats, man, they be getting it cracking, bruh. He could probably, the one we seen in the video, can probably kill a Redalos on his own.
I already have my cat name.
What's your cat name?
Yo-Yo.
Because they always come back.
I didn't think of that, but yes. Yo-Yo.
What's my cat name? Nuke.
Nuke.
Yeah, nuke him.
Because he blows stuff up.
Nuke him.
Okay.
Nuke him.
Yo, make sure y'all tell us what y'all favorite armor set that y'all seen in this video down below. If y'all want us to react to any other Monster Hunter videos, put the link down below.
Yep.
Let us know. Subscribe if you have not subscribed.
Like, comment, subscribe. Hit us up, man. We out. Peace.